Broadcasting live from the heart of Europe, Wiesbaden, Germany. This is In the Crease with Tommy C. I told you I was going to be broadcasting Thursday, but I decided not to because the most important video in YouTube history was released, and Chris Tazovich of the Joe Cornin Show was kind enough to talk about me about this all-important video. And we'll be going over NHL scores, dropping tracks as normal. I found another artist out of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Canada, and here he is. You know what? I'm going to cut the music off just like Joe Cronin does, just like that. Chris.
Feel at home now.
I'm so pumped about this video. And it's really happy to have, I'm really happy to have you on. I usually only do about 30 minutes. This is, like I said, the most high-tech video blog in American history.
The kids call them vlogs now, don't they?
Is that what they do?
I have no idea.
God, I mean, you know what my problem is? I'm middle-aged. I am trying to be terminally an adolescent, and I'm failing miserably. So you've seen this video. The title of his annoying guy provokes court official and gets what he deserved, which apparently is up for debate. You know what I'm gonna do before I actually have the video queued and ready to play full screen. You can't see it because of our technology limits, but I'm gonna play it. You know what to say. When it's over with, we're going to comment on it. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, buddy. Here we go.
What's your first and last name?
I don't have a last name.
You don't have a last name?
No.
And what's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a person. See, you deal here with Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, which deals with persons, which I am not.
What are you? Are you human?
I'm a man.
You're human?
I'm a man, yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
No.
You're not a U.S. citizen?
I was not born in Washington, D.C., or any territory of the under federal jurisdiction, so no, I'm not a U.S. citizen.
You born in the
Yeah, I know.
States of America and any of the
I was born in America. Yes, I'm a state citizen of one of the several states.
There's more than 7.
There's no
One of
such
the
thing as
several?
state citizenship.
Which state?
Idaho?
Idaho. Can I see your Idaho state license?
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't. And I don't wish to create joinder with you.
My person does.
All right. And if you want to just...
Can I get your name, please? E. Smith, thank you. Are you a bailiff or are you a prosecutor? No, you're probably a bailiff. You got the air thing in, huh?
So far, just being a dick. That's all.
Yep. And the most interesting thing to come out of Idaho.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Come on in, folks. Are you here for 8:30? Yes. Okay. I'm not starting up yet, but you can have a seat on the bench here. You're fine. The film can kind of...
And he's looking around. He's getting bored. Might as well.
I'm going to go in and speak with the prosecutor.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I'm bored.
Excuse me.
Camera.
Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement.
I am.
All right. Well, P. Barnes, you just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not. You can't come in with the camera.
Well, you're violating my rights. And this is also freedom of the press.
From behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man, but it doesn't apply to me.
You leave the camera with your mother outside the courtroom and you can come in.
You are not God. You have no jurisdiction over me.
God's not worried about cameras, sir. I am.
All right. Well, why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something
Against the
wrong?
rules.
Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else. Because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well, I mean, I don't have to go in because you can't even issue a warrant for me.
Might as well leave.
Well, no, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to speak with the
You
prosecutor.
can go in there without the camera.
Well, please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me
Step back.
and you're using... Stop, please. I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Oh.
Cuffs on him.
Put the cuss on. What are you arresting me for?
All right. I
man.
gotta be admit, I was hoping you'd kind of stick up for him a little bit. Look, is it a legitimate question here? Did these guys overstep their bounds?
I will say, you know what? I'm not going to stick up for this guy as a human being. That's just that's beyond my reach. But I will say at the very, very end there, I mean, the taser is supposed to be used in place of a firearm, where you would normally discharge a firearm but keep the perpetrator alive.
Now, is that the bailiff's SOP? I mean, is that their? I mean, I'll take your word.
I don't know about bailiffs. Police officers, yes,
Okay,
it's supposed to be
yeah.
their alternate to their firearm. Bailiffs in a courtroom setting, who knows? I mean,
we don't know.
It might
for
be
sure.
different.
Because I don't want to throw these guys. Because I'll be honest with you, I think he probably could have gave him another charge. But it's always like when cops and stuff, and I'm no defender of cops. They do get second guessed a lot, and most people actually don't know what their SOP is or what they are supposed to do in what circumstances. And I don't think it's fair for us to judge here. If he did overstep his bounds, I'll be the first guy to criticize him. But it doesn't really appear that way. The guy made it known to everybody that he was there to disrupt. He continued to disrupt. He made an attempt.
The law aside, that guy fucking deserved it.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
So I mean, he does not have a right to charge in with a camera. I'm sure there's a law against that.
Especially when he's like talking like Bruce Willis. I'm going in.
I mean, I don't know how you. I'm really digging to defend this guy.
Like, I'm hoping he said that into his lapel as if he had a fucking Secret Service microphone there or something. I'm going in.
Yeah, P. Barnes wasn't fucking around.
No, P. Barnes is a badass, and you can leave the camera outside with your mom.
I thought, other than that comment, I thought he was actually pretty professional. I mean, it's really difficult. But another thing is, Ray William Johnson featured this video, which is one of the reasons it's going to be getting so much attention, because Ray has the biggest show on YouTube. But he didn't, we don't know what he's doing with his hands. We don't know what kind of aggressive movements. He's already let these bailiffs know that he is there to make trouble.
And that he believes he's above the law, nothing applies to him, so therefore he's a loose cannon at that point.
Exactly. So, I mean, these guys have every right, and he does not have a right to charge, and he's obviously going to talk to the prosecutor to make his life hell. He doesn't have a right to disrupt it. And whoever's being tried or who is prosecuting has a right to a fair trial. This guy actually threatens that right to a fair trial.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Am I stretching it here, or you think I'm on the money? I mean...
No, you're actually, that's a good point I didn't even think of, is what he was going to disrupt wasn't just a government procedure, it was another person's rights.
Yeah, potentially. I'm sure he was there to defend the defendant. Just something tells me that, and I can't find a lot of news on this, so I can't say what he was there for.
Well, what's weird is because the Freeman on the Land, which I don't think we've mentioned that yet, but that's what this.
Okay, maybe you can give me some background on this, because I know you sent me a link, but I didn't have time to look at it because I wanted to get you on right away before you went to bed.
Like the sovereign extremists who are like, I live in a sovereign part of the United States. This is my land. It's not part of the United States.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, they're the extreme version. The FBI actually considers them a terrorist group.
Oh.
But below them, just the Freeman on the Land is the name for the people who believe that, the crazies,
that they're not
stockpiling weapons and yeah.
Okay, all right. We're talking about serious right-wing kooks. So this guy was possibly a right-wing kook.
Very well could be. I mean, they're at the level where they represent themselves in court. They will not accept a lawyer because they consider that being a contract with the United States, and they refuse to have any contract with the United States.
Even though they live in Idaho and Montana and what have you, which is under
also
federal
they believe
jurisdiction.
that their birth certificate is what people are referring to when they call them by name in court, or when a police officer asks for their name, or anything like paying income tax. They say that the birth certificate itself, the piece of paper, is what's being referred to, because them as a human being is different from that. And therefore, they don't feel that they have to pay any taxes or do anything for the United States, considering that the birth certificate is what's being referenced in all of these laws and
that
procedures.
Makes sense. Because he said, you're dealing with maritime, I am not a person. I am, and he's trying to, like, I guess, educate them or something like that. That makes sense. That first interaction with the first bailiff actually makes a lot more sense now. So that's what. So do you know for a fact that he's a Freeman of the Land or associated with a
No,
group
it's
like
just
that?
all the words he was saying,
wording
referencing maritime and everything. That's just, it just spells it all out.
Part of their spiel. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Oh, my God. So these are people that have eventually say they succeeded, but really didn't succeed, and they're so useless that no one even pays much attention to them.
Yeah, pretty much. Overseas, I think, well, for you, pretty much in your neighborhood, but in the UK is where it's most popular, I'm pretty sure. And there have been numerous court cases where people just refuse to go by the court, act like this guy, like, well, you can't tell me what to do, so I don't know how we're going to resolve this. And then they end up getting thrown in jail and then agreeing and paying. And
well, the thing is, if he said you overstepped your authority, well, you don't recognize his authority to begin with.
Right.
So he just shocked you for the sake of shocking you, and since we're all in a big fucking anarchy, just eat it.
Well, the one difference between them and anarchists is that they believe that natural law and common law still exists, just not the state's law, and that includes, I think they limit it to not harming anyone, not harming anyone's property, and no fraudulent contracts. And those are the only 3 laws that they believe in.
That's really that's farther right than I'm willing to go, I'll tell you that. All right, everybody. Hey, listen, thanks for listening. We're going to go over a little more. Hopefully, Chris will stick around. But did we ever get a name for this guy or anything?
I don't think so.
No, we didn't. But you know what I think he should do? I think he should chill out and deal with Bang a Porter, a new hip-hop artist out of Manitoba, smoke some weed. Here's Another Night by Bang'em Porter. See you on the other side, sirs, ladies, peace, and chill out.
Another 4 seasons, looking out the window of my sweet 4 seasons. Reading, writing topics you won't believe in. Check in the hotel with all my team and hit the pool next. Couple fly ladies, we get hit, yes, but you won't have my babies on the balcony. Spark a cigarette, back up at the bar, umbrella in my drink again. Stop and think again, head to the room quick. Then my shrooms kick, chillin' on that goon-ish. Thinking it's a sample place. Why don't we just crack a case? Homie said to pass the chase. Well, I don't need that, victory is the aftertaste. Just where the weed at, lean back. Good times is never stopping when we laugh. Just checking time, me and the whole crew. Yes, these problems now that is some old news. Get my kicks, hit the elevator. We be feeling good, this what you can tell a hater. Ban the smoke, marijuana. I just hit the pool, sweat in the sauna. Then it's back to the room, on the balcony, looking out at the moon. Waking up in the morning, breakfast is continental. Waving to my homie cruising in the Continental. I gotta wake and bake, feeling worn out from the night before. Believe that we went all out. I'ma hop in the shower, just call me Dan with Link. Facebook pictures is just waiting to sink, just waiting to blink like it was all a dream. All the team, baby, and we on the scene. It's getting around the time that we should check out. Tell her to bounce, it's gravy, and then I step out of the shower fresh. Only an hour left, well, homie, then we gone. Shoes and my trousers fresh. Checking time, me and the whole crew. Yes, these problems now that is some old news. Get my kicks, hit the elevator. We be feeling good, this what you can tell a hater. Ban the smoke, marijuana. I just hit the pool, sweat in the sauna. Then it's back to the room, on the balcony, looking out at the moon.
Chill. Right, Chris?
Very chill.
Just very chill. That's Bang'em Porter out of Manitoba. Jesus, it's awful. I can't get anything right when it comes to that kind of stuff. Hey, listen, maybe you're interested because you are a musician, and you actually build a big part of your income, correct? You're paying the rent
true.
on your skills. You're not just doing what I did back in 2000, throwing $2,000, $3,000 in a recording and getting no return. You are getting a return, and you depend.
Yeah,
on
I'm also not throwing any money into recording.
Yeah,
I would be going broke like you did, apparently.
Yeah, that's pretty. Well, you know what? I will say this though. I was 24 years old at the time. It's the best experience I ever had. It taught me a little bit about work and that. Everybody gets into music for all the right reasons, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to make money, it's like going to a job, and I think you probably know that more than most. At any level, either low from the bar.
If you want to be rich, you need to cut one single and ride it out for the rest of your life. If
Pretty
you want to
much.
make a living, then it's a toss-up between like you said, going there every single day, whether it's playing a bar every weekend and being a resident there, or going all the way up to bands that tour the United States over and over again and write new material all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the work end of it. But literally, the sad part is, if you want to get rich, you write one single for Miley Cyrus and live off the royalties.
It's a business, and that's what know. I respect the guys that really pour their heart into it. But at the end of the day, even some of our greatest artists historically have gotten famous over stuff they don't even. Look, take something like the Beastie Boys. From what I understand, MCA hated "Fight for Your Right," but let's face it, and they did a lot of great stuff after that. Well, let's face it, that's what's given them the lifestyle more than probably the other stuff that is considered. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a snobby hipster, but of a serious musical vein. So, I mean, I just think that's the way it goes.
It's true. I mean, look at Radiohead, for example, where their biggest single to this day, I'm pretty sure, is probably still Creep. And they hate that song. It was off their weakest album that was basically them just dipping their toes in the whole like Britpop grunge era.
It's a pop record.
And then they've evolved in some of the greatest musicians of all time.
No gap.
Yet but the fact of the matter is they weren't going to be able to pay off their music schools or be able to fuck around all day and just sit there and learn how to play their instruments very well if they didn't make so much money off that shitty song.
Well, it also, you've never seen the other albums that came after that were unbelievably influential. Yeah, they weren't pop hits and every. What was the record they put out? OK Computer.
OK Computer, and then Kid A.
And they're amazing records. So without the Creep pop detached youth horseshit, which by the way came out when I was in high school. That's how old I am.
94, 95.
Yeah,
I think it was.
So it would have been my junior year of high school, and but it wouldn't have actually. Is experimental rock a fair assessment of them? It wouldn't.
Yeah,
wouldn't have
I call them experimental, definitely.
Yeah, at least at the time. I mean, now, you've seen.
Still, every album of theirs is pretty different from the one that precedes it. So I'd still call them experimental.
And they spawned another great act, Coldplay. I don't think the guys in Coldplay would argue with the fact that they're extremely influenced by, especially that record, OK Computer, by Radiohead.
Fucking hate Coldplay.
You really hate Coldplay? I like Coldplay. I got to be honest with you. You don't like The Scientist?
No, actually, I consider that song a ripoff of "Zombie" by the Cranberries.
Is it the same?
It's the same chord progression, pretty much.
Yeah, well, Chris Martin's been accused of stealing music from Joe Satriani in the past. I wonder if I love that song. It doesn't make it.
It's a common chord progression, so I'm not going to say he ripped it off, but still.
Well, I mean, geez, rock and roll is mostly 3 chords and what have you. I want to know. See, I don't know if you have the. Do you have the broadcast running live? Because hopefully, you can see these pictures, and it would be actually.
I will go there now.
Okay. See, it's going to be a bit on a delay, and then I'm going to give you a background on this picture. Apparently, we're leading up to the Olympics in Stosy, and by the way, this has nothing to do with hockey, if you can believe that. But I had to. We're leading up to the Olympic event in Stosy, and recently a Dutch skater whose name I am not going to attempt to pronounce, even though it's the country right next door I live to. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. He was in a 500 meter relay with a Russian skater who won, and then just turns around and flips him off. I mean, it's really, really unbelievable.
I saw that, yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And what's even more unbelievable is this absolutely epic face he makes right afterwards. I don't even you couldn't have drawn it on like a Warner Brothers cartoon. I mean, it's too funny.
To be fair, I think the reason he was flipping him off is because weren't they celebrating before they crossed the finish line, which apparently is unsportsmanlike?
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
At the same time, so is responding with the double middle finger.
So the guy, all right. So to make the other guy feel better, because I got video of this damn thing too. So to make the other guy feel better, he has. Let's see. I know I have video of this. I better have video of this. Yeah, I do. So let me turn you off real quick, and I'll let that run. So yeah, he was literally less than a skating length away, and he put his arms up, and that's what offended him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gee, give me a break. Get the hell out of here. I got to be honest with you.
The face he makes is so funny. It's so Yosemite Sam mad at Bugs Bunny or something.
Back on. It's just what an embarrassment. Well, the Dutch were actually just the entire team, not even the individual, were apparently disqualified from this entire event. I don't know if I go for that. I'm all for punishing the individual, but I mean, it really is. It's absolutely hysterical. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Olympics in general? I'm going to talk about something controversial.
What as an age-old sporting event, or as
As
this
it is
current
today,
Olympics?
as it is. I mean, the intent. I wouldn't argue with the intent. It's a great idea, but I mean, what
I,
it's
I love the
become-
Olympics. I think they're
Really?
great. I think it's something that the whole world can compete in, and that's not soccer. That's not just soccer.
That's a good point. I have a problem with the Olympics, as you might have bet. The thing is, and I noticed it when I was a kid during the Cold War, and it just became like our system versus your system. It became less about the athletes, more about their backstories, and in a way, and in the United States is guilty of this too, of promoting their sort of systems and not leaving that stuff at the gate. Every single Olympics is politicized, whether it be the Summer or the Winter Games. I remember in the last Olympics in London, they were in the opening ceremony. They were having a celebration of their single-payer healthcare system. It just didn't seem appropriate to me.
Yeah,
I'm against that kind of stuff, sure, but I mean, I don't know if the Americans had a Olympics and we had children dressed as guns dancing down. I don't know if I'd go for that either. So I'm sick of it, and with the absolute exception of the hockey, the men's hockey, I honestly don't care if the NHL's in it again. I'm sick of I mean, when I was a kid, it was the Soviet Union. Now it's just I don't know. Everybody, I don't know. You help me out here, will you? Ugh, I'm tired of the Olympics.
No, I do see what you mean, but at the same time, I mean, you can ignore all that bullshit. It's like saying, I don't like the Super Bowl because the halftime show sucks.
That's absolutely,
you're
right.
Then just, what?
You got me. No, you're right. You just shut the fuck, turn the sound down, and watch these guys, play their heart out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
no,
all these people, I mean, the Olympians themselves are the hardest working athletes in the world. I mean, that's what they are. That's what they do. And yes, it gets politicized because without that, they're not going to they're not going to have the ratings to allow this to go on. I mean, it costs a lot of fucking money to run the Olympics. And you got to make at least that back and then some, or it's kind of pointless.
When I see events like the World Cup and the Olympics, these worldwide events, and I look at things like the World Series, or like even a championship soccer game in Germany, you don't have the politicization. And I guess once you get to that international level, you're just going to have nothing but a circus act. I don't know if you know this, but the Olympics has a rule that you can't kind of promote a certain kind of political events or have propaganda on your uniform or any kind of thing like that, which, by the way, it sounds on the surface like it's okay. But the female goaltender for the women's hockey team had a "We the People" font or just sort of a picture of an airbrush of the Constitution, and that fell under the propaganda part of this rule. I think it's Rule E10 or some crap like that. I can't remember. I'm not that great a broadcaster. And yet they had her take it off. But the Slovakian team, which, by the way, I hope they're able to keep their uniform, has their national anthem actually etched in real small lettering as lines across their jersey, which really looks cool, by the way. And I think you get enough stories like that, it's enough to make me nuts. And I'm perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, what is the difference between those two things? But
well, that's the thing.
When it comes down to it, none of that matters. When if, like you said, if you put it on mute and just watched the games,
Well, it's a little tough. It's a little tough for me to kind of stomach. I see clear bias there. So
there's bias, but at the same time, it shouldn't affect anyone's performance. And it's about, once again, I'm going to keep reiterating, it's about the performances themselves.
It's about the guys. It just gotta. I just basically what you're telling me.
I agree with you though. I agree with you. That is biased and it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's just what I got to do is I got to deal and suck it up. I will say this though: if the National Hockey League wants to pull out of the Olympics completely and they want to run their own 4-year tournament and stop the season in the middle, I'd be fine with that. And to me, that's the World Championship, because to me, the IOC needs the National Hockey League to anoint a world champion. The National Hockey League doesn't need them. If they send amateurs to the Olympics every 4 years to compete in the Winter Games, it's still the gold medal. It still has that, but it's not. You didn't win the World Cup of hockey, so I mean. All right, I think I'll just let that slide. Thanks for putting me in line. You got anything going on your show, the great Joe Cronin Show? You want to let us know what's going on there? running the
If you
ad
like
right now.
professional wrestling, so both of you out there who like professional wrestling, you can hop on over to youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show, and you'll get to watch us asshats talk about sweaty men in tights fumbling around in the ring.
Can I bring up a wrestling topic? I know I'm not like a top wrestling guy, but Joe's mentioned this before. Recently, you've seen Daniel Bryan. I almost called him Daniel Wyatt, by the way. Daniel Bryan put in an angle with the Wyatts, who are sort of mid-carders in the WWE roster, and Wyatt has. We'll give you a little background on him, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Brian comes from the independents, and he's really hot with the smart fans right now, the guys that actually go to the events. And he's a great wrestler, and he seems to have a lot of charisma. But I think the one strike against him that makes people in the WWE, like Vince McMahon and maybe even Shane, a little is his body. He doesn't have that traditional
his
Hulk Hogan
size.
body. It has nothing to do with his ability. He is able to draw. He is over, as they say in that industry. And he recently won a title that they immediately took away from him with a
Twice. That happened twice.
It's already happened twice already. Oh God, that's right. That was in the summer. That was in the summer.
It happened over the summer, and then they teased it again, and then I think there was like maybe 3 pay-per-views in a row where he was supposed to win the title and got screwed, and then finally they just kind of gave him the backtrack to the Wyatt angle.
So they're burying him, even though he's making the money.
Well, what happened most recently, well, not most recently, but not this past Monday night, but the one before it, was he had a match, him and Bray Wyatt as a Wyatt versus the Usos, I'm pretty sure, and they lost. But at the end of the match, it left Daniel Bryan in the ring alone with Bray Wyatt, and he ended up taking off his Wyatt costume or whatever, attacking Bray Wyatt, and then he climbed to the top of the cage and did his yes taunt, and the entire building was doing it along with him, which is the biggest reaction I think I've seen someone get, where there's no one in the crowd going against it since Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've never seen that totality before.
I mean,
where everyone in the building is putting their arms up in the air.
Why would all right. Vince is not the type of guy, because he learned from Stone Cold Steve Austin and McMahon that, like Stone Cold wasn't the biggest guy. I mean,
he wasn't even a great wrestler, in my opinion. I mean, his career after his injuries and everything.
After his injuries, no. I mean, he definitely wasn't a great wrestler.
It's just kind of a brawler, He didn't. I mean, his finisher was a great finisher, but all of his other moves were just kind of punches and kicks and middle fingers and elbows.
No, there was some true, but he brought a lot of charisma to that ring, and there was a time.
Oh, no doubt.
And look, that's really important. But I mean, do you think that the WWE is so set in their ways that they would actually cut their own throats at a profit? I mean, obviously, this guy, they just gave CM Punk a 1.5 year run with the belt. What's wrong with giving this guy a 1.5 year run on the belt? They just don't want him to face the company?
A lot of people bring that up, and a lot of people are asking, where's Bryan's turn? What is this going to lead to? Like, is this just going to fizzle out? And what I always compare it to is Mick Foley, where that's what they're going to do. They're going to tease it. They're going to give us a little bit of a payoff. And then the majority of the time, it's going to hang on the waist of the equivalent of Austin or The Rock, which is what happened during Mick Foley's time.
That's true.
And Mick Foley, you remember him as a WWE champion. They mentioned he's had it 3 times. You think of him winning the belt, and like that whole story of when on Nitro they gave away the ending saying, "Oh, and don't bother putting on WWF because apparently Mick Foley's going to win the world title." Yeah, that'll put asses in seats.
I remember that.
And
that's what I was really into.
And it bit them in the ass. Everyone changed the channel, and the ratings tipped the scales.
Yeah, I know.
But he won the belt. It was a big news story. But then a month later, he lost it, and then he just kind of shuffled around the top of the card for a while until they found something else for him to do. And he kept getting the crowd pumped. He kept being over. Everyone always loved him. He lost almost all of his matches, which no one ever cares to mention, because it's not the point. He was getting asses in seats regardless of whether or not he was the champion. And I think the WWE knows that, and they're doing that with Daniel Bryan, exploiting him for his draw power without having to put the belt on him, and teasing it enough so that we're not just going to change the channel.
So it's what you're telling me is that WWE believes that they can make money with Bryan this way, but a long-term run they can't. And Cena's going to make money for another 10 years, so it doesn't
Cena,
really
Orton.
Those are young. The thing is, you could almost justify it with Mick Foley years ago, because he was in his mid-30s. He was coming to the end of his career when he peaked.
Right. This is Bryan's peak that we're witnessing right now.
Bryan,
and he
how
should
old
be
is Bryan?
rewarded for it.
Is he 30 even? He looks like he's 26 years old.
He's young.
Yeah, so I mean, he might have another 50. I mean, God, with wrestlers' lifespan, it could be up to 20 with Bryant. So I mean, it's very it's confusing to me why the WWE would go that route.
Daniel Bryan is 32.
He's that old.
Yeah, well, that's not that old though.
Well, I guess in professional sports it is though. I mean, you should be peaking right now, I suppose.
Yeah,
he's had no major injuries though, right? He's been pretty much. I wouldn't say
injury. He recently got a concussion, but that's about it.
I figure that would come with the territory. Hey, listen, Chris, let me do the NHL scores right here, which I'm supposed to do on this channel because it is a hockey channel, and then I will say goodbye right after this. Here we go. Vancouver keeps it going in Edmonton. They take Edmonton 2-1. This is the first game featured without one coach, John Tortorella, who was suspended because of a line brawl we've covered before here on In the Crease. The Vancouver keeps rolling, and they beat Edmonton 2-1. NHL, Toronto over Colorado. Phil Kessel scored his 25th and 26th goal of the season, and James Van Riemsdyk's New Jersey native had a goal and assist to power the Red Hot Leafs to their 6th straight win. It must be some kind of record. I guess the Toronto Maple Leafs are guaranteed to win the Stanley Cup. They actually won 6 in a row for the first time in like 100 years. The Winnipeg Jets, they shock the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Well, I guess you can't call them that anymore. Blake Wheeler, Andrew Ladd, and Vander Kane all scored to knock off the best team in the NHL right now, the Anaheim Ducks. Ottawa takes Washington 2-0. This game did not feature Alexander Ovechkin, who is out with an undisclosed injury. The Los Angeles Kings lose to a red-hot CBJ. Let me tell you something. The Columbus Blue Jackets are red-hot right now. They win their 7th straight, and they just keep rolling, beating great Stanley Cup contenders like the Los Angeles Kings. Florida managed to win 2 in a row after they just knocked off Pittsburgh. They also come up with a win against Buffalo 4-3. The New Jersey Devils shock and destroy another Stanley Cup contender, the St. Louis Blues. They pound St. Louis. Hope this is a freak, 7-1. And, I guess they just couldn't get out of Jersey fast enough because the St. Louis is much better than that, and the Devils are awful. So it's shocking to me, Chris. It's very shocking to me. Florida wins another one, if you can believe that. They go, excuse me, that's it. And that's all the scores in the NHL. I read the same damn thing twice. Chris, you see what a pro I am?
Top notch.
Top notch. That's right. Well, I mean, I feel almost forced to do hockey. But this is something we're a little different. I even got the if you can believe this, I got the scores streaming across as we're talking. If you can believe that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Isn't that badass?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, thanks to Joe, I found this dopey program that allows me to do it. All right, everybody. We'll do some quick plugs. Please check out JohnFreemanMusic.com, JohnFreemanMusic.com. John Freeman is the official musician of the Shot from the Point Productions channel. He does a lot of work for us. And, of course, we talked about Joe Cronin. Chris Tozovich is the encyclopedic mind behind the Joe Cronin call-in show. It is the wildest sports wrestling call-in show. If you're thinking, like, that's crazy, why would you call in a sports station about wrestling? That doesn't exist. Yeah, it does, because there's a whole scene behind what you see on television, and these guys are the fans to talk about it, and it runs very much like any kind of other sports talk radio station. Am I correct?
Yeah, nice plug. Thank you. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, it's tough because I wanted, like, why would you talk? I like wrestling, but I'm not going to listen to it about the radio. No, there's a whole other world out there about wrestling that you probably don't know about if you're just sort of this casual fan. And it has to do with how guys are set up, how guys are promoted, and you start to realize that even though they're not competing in the ring for wins and losses and things of that nature, they are competing behind the scenes, and those are the things that Chris and Joe cover, and it's fantastic. Of course, our flagship show, Shot from the Point Live, 6 p.m. on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time. Me and Jake Link hit all the hockey news of the week, not just scores and what have you, and I think it's a pretty goddamn funny show. Thank you, Chris Tozovich, for bringing on my sort of brand new program. Thanks for coming.
Hey, anytime.
Buddy. Hey, it was great. You're funny as always. I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again. Hey.
Yeah, we should do more.
Absolutely. We're on the right time to do this because you can't sleep, and this is when I wake up. All right, we'll say goodnight to Las Vegas. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you come in next time. Who knows when we'll broadcast next time? On me on Twitter, Tommy C SFTP, also on Facebook. Look us up, Google us. See you next time. Bye.
Tequila, the beat, and a case to a shit. Wanna rub up my knees and try to get in my